Hey everybody, welcome to day 2 of the Draft Jesse Convention, or the BDS Week Global Convention, or the Trust the Shooter Convention, whatever you want to go with. Today we are joined by...
I'm only going by 2-6 from now on, below 26 degrees. It's your boy Too Cold.
You whack, Bruce.
Whoa! Don't use my
Whoa!
government name. Come on.
Bro, they know who you are. They're gonna come gun you down. I'm sorry.
No. They're using that fucking heart
Uh,
attack gun on me right now, man.
we throwing it
Bill
back.
Binney, is that you?
It's your boy, Capital.
Yes. Shout out to the dinosaur in Seattle. I got that on stream. I'm so happy. Alright, you ready?
But what are we? Yeah, what are we covering today, by the way?
We're gonna go over the Ron Placone speech because he is a comedian and he did some funny as shit jokes in this, so they can't go to waste.
All right. With all that being said, let's go ahead and hit play.
We are here today because we realize that, people say, oh, the system's broken. Here we realize, no, the system's working. The system's working the way it's supposed to.
Got him.
It's working the way it's supposed to for the donor class and for Wall Street. It's working so well, it's gotten to the point where our options for president are Joe Biden or Donald Trump. Like most people with a pulse, I don't want to vote for either candidate for a lot of reasons. One of them being I have a cat.
Yep.
I already spend enough time checking a box for a piece of shit. And it's not unreasonable to say the only time people should be having to choose between alleged rapists is if they're picking someone out of a suspect lineup, not voting for a leader of the free world.
So yeah, I think he perfectly encapsulates the problem with the current political system and how fucked it is, with a great joke and shit. And I'm so glad Ron gave this speech.
I like the cat part, especially. I'm talking about Corey. My cat be
Yeah,
doing
you would
to
know.
Me, man. My
Bro, he's got like 30 of them.
I got seven. But yeah, man.
I think he makes a good point on how good the system works.
Yeah,
I mean,
working well
your
for
boy
some.
definitely part of Wall Street. Works really good for me.
I would say the system works so well. We have people that are getting hurt by the system, saying that they want to defend the system. That's how well it works.
Hey, speaking
People who are
of
getting fucked by it. Yeah.
speaking of the Wall Streets and who it works well for, Corey, what do you think about these fat cats that act like they know best?
Bro, they live a carefree life with no stress.
Do you think they'll
Will they
ever?
ever pay for it? Never know, I guess. But they don't give a shit about the protests.
Yeah, so I was hearing that recently. People were saying, I don't know if it was politicians and some other stuff about people were asking them about the protests, and they don't, and the higher ups, they don't give a shit. So, I mean, again, but that's also the thing, is if they don't give a shit, the people, the rebels, the average citizens, they do. So.
Well, the reason they don't give a shit is because of like what happened in Portland when you had the caravan of MAGA like roll in. You see the divide amongst the people, like
Yeah,
really
you
bad
got the
now.
loyalists and the rebels.
No,
Underfunded.
You see the divide amongst people though. Like as long as people are fighting each other, bro, they get to race out the back door to Social Security. They don't care.
Nah, we gonna find them. We ain't gonna forget. We gonna come for them too. Just because you old don't mean you get a pass.
You disrespecting your elders now.
Of course I disrespect my elders. Fuck you mean? I call them out on their bullshit.
Hey, we inherited this fucked system from said elders. Some of them, or most
Good
of them.
point. Fuck the elders.
Prison
Ain't no-
they didn't call it the prison elders for nothing.
No.
There's no reason why I gotta pick up the fucking same fight my grandma had when she was growing up, man. Shouldn't be no reason for that shit. But y'all say y'all pieces.
Yeah.
All right, go ahead and hit play.
And this is the point that it's gotten us to. This is by design. It's by design. during the Democratic presidential primaries, there was more talk about having empathy for billionaires than there was about stopping the systemic murder of black people by police.
So I just want to point out that this is the Orwellian should always be on Twitter preaching about on how and how Room 101 is the police state. It's like he said, it's by design. Like they control the MK Ultra 2.0 controls the narrative, the optics, and the culture. And the policy is implemented by the 1984, the ruling class, the Orwellian system.
Yeah, it'd be that super capitalist mindset of whenever you want to talk about paying the lower level workers more, you see the fucking simps for corporations come out in droves being like, well, what about the corporation's bottom line? I was like, bruh, their bottom line is more than you make in 10 years. Why are you defending it? Why do you care
that's the
about
whole
that?
point. This big game that we play as a society, right? We don't hold the cards to it. We don't have the money or the power to control the rules to the game. We just have to abide by them.
I think we have plenty of power. It's just we just waiting to use it. It's like the Dragon Ball Z fights in anime, man. You don't use your final move in the beginning. You save up.
Until we pack a punch our thunder gun.
Yes.
Power
Base cannon. Whoop.
You got anything to say?
No, that's
Anything
some
more to say,
deep
Aaron?
ass cuts. We got a prison of elders, a pack a punch base cannon. Motherfucker, we out here.
All right, all good shit. Let's go ahead and hit play.
We've reached a point where people like John Kasich and Colin Powell are part of the supposed alternative to the conservatives. At the rate we're going now, by 2028, Don Jr. is going to run for president as a Democrat. I don't know who the Republican nominee is going to be. I'm guessing it's going to be a hologram of Mussolini.
Shout out.
I'd imagine that'll be the front runner. And this is by design. The Republicans are one of the greatest existential threat to mankind, to paraphrase Noam Chomsky. I believe that to be true.
Boy.
And the only way they're able to be this horrible is because of how ineffective the Democrats are. And vice versa. They need each other. And that's bipartisanship. It takes a Republican wing and a Democrat wing for the American eagle to fly. So it can shit on all of our heads.
So, I mean, that's the, not Orwellian, that's the George Carlin One Big Club, and you're not in it. So
and you're not in it.
So to paraphrase Ron, it's, it's one big turd and it's on your head.
I like how he said the Democrats are supposed to be the ones to stop the Republicans. Like, bro, they are Republicans. Like, they all the same crew. They all in the same gang.
Yeah,
They
bro,
all
it's
run
one
with
big
each other.
turd. It's on your head, and when you try to lift up your hand to clean it, they smack your hand down. Fuck you, you ain't cleaning that turd. That's our turd. We're proud of it.
That's the government. One big turd.
Let it fester a little bit. We like it here.
And Corey out here stumping for Chomsky, I think. You know, Chomsky's cool as shit, but that dude that's big anti JFK and RFK assassination shit on Twitter, he shits on Chomsky a lot. So there's something up with Chomsky apparently.
I approach Chomsky the way I approach like Mark Twain. Some of his quotes ring true, and some of his quotes are like, "What you saying, bro?"
Yeah, because Chomsky was like supporting Biden this year, and I was like, "What are you doing? How do you?"
Yeah, when I saw that,
how do you know
I was like,
so much,
on,
but not know so little?
Yeah.
Got defeated.
It's not that it's defeated. It's that too smart for your own good shit.
Yeah, I think so.
Where like you legit know so much that it's like you stop making sense. Like it's a legit thing. Like there's some dudes that just like they're so smart that they're like they make non-smart decisions. Like I don't know why that's a thing. I don't know what that is about human like psychology.
Because they ain't read Socrates.
They
ain't read Socrates. That's why.
No, cause it's usually like a method to the madness. Like whenever Alex Jones is going crazy, it's like they're turning the freaking frogs gay. It's like, oh,
bro,
yeah, right.
listen,
you're
I
right.
just gave
You're right.
frogs. Like he might have been onto something with that.
No, like Killer Talk said,
He was
technically
onto
that was
something.
true. But this guy's whacked out of his mind and doesn't know how to make logical arguments, so he just shouts shit.
It's not his fault that he. He took that Family Guy episode too serious. He was sniffing frogs too much, bro.
No,
He was,
they
he,
were
were-
turning
he
the
was
frogs
sniffing.
gay.
He was sniffing gay frogs. That was even worse.
So I think it's just that. It was like you start just yelling shit at the top of your lungs and no one really gets it. So it's like a self-feeding system. Like you're saying all this shit and people are like, whoa, slow down. How we getting here? And he's like, you just don't
what's
understand.
sad about the Alex Jones thing is back in the day he used to bring up stuff that was logical, and those arguments are gonna get just swept under the rug underneath all the crazy shit.
That's why that's one of the bonuses
Yeah.
of them removing him is all those vids are gone on YouTube of the ones where he wasn't fucking wrong. You know,
Like-
just like all the wrong shit he said is gone, some of the right shit he said was gone too.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
But remember, they kicked him off all the social media platforms for a reason. He was right about some shit.
Some of it.
They
They had to kick him
deplatformed him.
off.
In a
He's
fucking
fucking-
heartbeat.
He's still bonkers.
Yeah,
on
in a
this shit
day.
now. Like,
In a
that's-
day, he was.
But
just
that
deleted
man
from
is
the internet.
legit cuckoo now. Like
Sadly.
he talks
Sad.
about some crazy shit.
That's why I said I was like, I wish fucking AJ from like 2010 or 2008 existed and was here in the protest. Oh my, he would be the globalist. There's the police there. Got the documents. Obama made this happen too. Bush was the Patriot Act. He'd be there just dropping all the bombs on helping the protesters. But instead, he's against them now in his fucking little big ass compound in Austin, Texas, or wherever he is. Like, come on, man, what the fuck happened to you? He was
He went off
right.
the deep end, bro.
He
He,
was
drank too much of the Kool-Aid. At first, he was sipping just the right amount. He seemed like he knew something, and then he fucking it was like someone bumped it and he chugged it.
You know, like
It was gone after that.
Put too much sugar in that shit.
Too much
They-
Kool-Aid.
like you can watch, like I said, you can still see that interview with him and Immortal Tech, and you're like, oh, okay, AJ knows some of his shit, and he's not a moron, and he'll be willing to work with real lefties. And then here we are now. Nope. And I was like, well, so much for that.
Another one down, boys.
All right, let's go ahead and hit play again.
We're here to say it's time to end the duopoly. We're here to say that it's not radical to demand the type of healthcare system the rest of the industrialized world takes for granted. It's not radical to say we need to act bold on climate change now with a Green New Deal and it can't wait. It's not radical to say anybody working 40 hours a week at an honest job deserves a living wage. It's not radical to say we need to look out for the most vulnerable among us. It's not radical to say that education should be for everyone and not just for the elite. And it's certainly not radical to say it is time to end the wars and end them now.
You got to. So I said, you know, we gotta fucking, you know, you gotta end everything. You gotta end the military-industrial complex. You gotta end every huge industrial complex, from healthcare to prisons to the police, death squads. You know, this is, you know, the point of a government is to fucking, you know, beat down, you know, powers that be from gaining too much power and putting some type of control over a populace. It's not confusing. Like, this is, you know, it's like...
I don't know what you're talking about, personally. I like it when my government stomps on me.
Well, he brought up education, but how did the poor people stay dumb if you let them get education? Like,
it's not
that
even
seems
getting
kinda counterintuitive.
education. It's the getting real education is the also.
Yeah,
the issue.
getting quality education.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Not this
how do you
fucking
keep the
bullshit.
how do you keep the poor people dumb if you do that? Like, come on. You gotta keep them dumb.
We need poor people, man. What's the country gonna do without all these
True.
poor people?
No, that shit is fucked though. They put you in such a box. Like, oh, why you working at McDonald's? Like, no wonder you don't make enough money. Why should we raise the minimum wage? It's a high school job anyways. Why don't you go get a college degree? That shit costs so much money that people don't have because you're telling the person working at McDonald's, living below a living wage, okay, living paycheck to paycheck. You're telling that person why don't they get a college degree knowing how much it costs? You're asking
They should
them to
have
go
thought about
in
that
debt to
before
get
they became
ahead.
poor.
It's just like what
They should have
Locksmith
thought-
said, dude. You get a job to pay for school to get a job to pay for school. Like, it's fucked, dude. They put you in a box.
The
Like,
pyramid scheme.
they tell you, oh, get a higher education and make something of yourself, but you have to go in debt to do that. And then you come out of your higher education so in your fucking neck in debt to where like what Nino said, the first 4 years of your salary goes to Sally Mae. Like, this shit's so backwards. Like, when he says education's for the elite, like, he's not joking. Like,
Oh, no, 100%.
you literally have to go fucking in debt to even have a chance at a higher education.
Whoa, what do you mean? You don't have to. You can always join the military and go kill people for it.
It's a good point.
Well, just like how, like I said, the foreign policy is now affecting us domestically. You're witnessing capitalism. You got to invest money to make money. You're witnessing your own life and well-being and job is now financially dependent upon your investment or future investment when you pay it off in an education for a job. Like, how fucked is that?
Hey, just wait till they figure out how to do necromancy, dog. They're gonna make your corpse work off your debts.
But
No
if you
rest
don't, if
for
you
you.
choose to not go in debt and work a somewhat minimum wage job, you're not pulling yourself up by your bootstraps because you made that financial decision for yourself.
Yeah, like you're damned if you do, you're damned if you don't. Cause like, say you're a self-educator type, and you bust your ass and you spend your free time when you're not working, reading and studying and shit, but you're broke as shit. You don't have money to build an investment to make a better life for yourself. You know, building a job or some type of strategy to continue to gain wealth. So no matter what you do, you're fucked.
Yeah, I mean, you're fucked either way. Like, I don't know what, like, the people who argue, because, like, there's a bunch of old fucks that live where I live, right?
Shout out.
And they're constantly on the side of, oh, well, why don't they get a better job? And it's like, I don't think you fully understand. Like, if you made all the old nerds that were actually able to go to college on a minimum wage back in their day, if you made them go to college now and see how much it costs, they would probably agree with you. But they don't know.
It's because they exist in a different reality. You know, when people see the guys working at McDonald's, like the janitors in schools, or at the garbage man, when they see those dudes, they hate them for some reason.
They live in a manufactured reality. That's what's scary. They regurgitate everything they've been taught and told.
And you know, they want to shit on this guy for working at McDonald's when it's like, all right, bitch, go make your own burger or something. You know, why you here then? So it's this whole thing where it's like, oh, you gotta hate the people that make less than you, and you don't want the people that make less than you to be better for some reason. For whatever reason, I don't understand.
It's the manufactured reality of hypocrisy. Like, it's honestly, it's scary how they don't even realize it. Because I've legit heard people around here talk about how there was legit a woman that told me that people should be protesting from their home. like
you know, they're saying protest where we can't hear you, please.
yeah, like,
you guys are too loud. I don't like thinking about all this.
But she turns around and says that she shouldn't be taught and told what to say, and I'm like, you're telling these people not to protest. You're telling them what they should and shouldn't do or shouldn't say. You're telling them they should protest from their home because you don't agree with it. Like, you don't even realize how you're contradicting yourself in your own sentence. Like, that's how they convince themselves. Judgment. That's how they convince themselves that younger generations just want everything for, you know, quote, for free. Like, they don't understand because they've lived inside of this
bubble
manufactured reality that they just regurgitate what they've been seeing on fucking mainstream media. And all of them motherfuckers regurgitating it, live in their own bubble where everything's fine and dandy all the time.
Well, they think
that's that shit where Nancy Pelosi is like, oh, I love ice cream, when it's like people like can't afford to eat right now. That's that shit whenever I had to go to work and we had to have like all these talks, and there were all these people that I worked with in the Air Force who were like, I didn't know racism was still a thing. It's because
when Hillary says she keeps hot sauce on her, I resonate with that. I got hot sauce on me at all times. It's the closest thing to pepper spray I got.
Are you trying to say she has a public bottle of hot sauce and a private bottle of what? Ranch? What are you trying to say? What are you trying to? Whoa!
Oh, shit.
It's that shit where it's like people they exist in a bubble, and it's very hard to pop that bubble for a lot of people, and they don't want it popped either, and they don't want to expand their horizons or look at they don't even want to question their view on the world. It's all black and white.
It's legit. Once you get to a certain age, it's like you get so afraid of change that you don't even want to admit it.
You know,
You see, I would accept that if I didn't see, like 20 to 30-year-olds doing the same shit too.
man,
You
20 to
know,
30-year-olds ain't old.
that's what I'm
I'm like,
saying.
what are you talking?
Is that I'm saying that like I would accept that, oh, they're too old and they're scared of change, but I see 20 and 30-year-olds who are the same way, who are
Oh,
scared of change.
okay.
Well, you have to think those 20 and 30-year-olds probably never thought for themselves since they were born.
Or read a
You know
book.
what I mean? Like here, like I see it a lot because of where I live. Like people are born into the religion, people are born into the right wing mindset, and they never think for themselves. They're born into the state of mind of everything's good. It's not going to change. So that that mindset of I don't want anything to change. They never thought for themselves in the first place. So they're just getting the same mindset of the older generations and just following it.
Man. Yeah, man. I got one joke was like, all these motherfuckers like must think we live in Atlantis, like every other country around us is like completely technologically inferior. Uh, and also the motherfucker, this shit ain't free. Like just because because the government spent y'all tax money on endless wars for brown people. Brown people got more fucking bombs out of your tax money than you got shit to help you. You're mad at the next generation for actually wanting something from our tax money and our government. And they're mad at us because, again, we're real Americans. We demand shit. We demand shit that was laid out by Washington and the founding fathers of this country of what the government was designed to do. And they're laying out shit that, again, the British Empire was of what they wanted. You listen to the
They would have
government.
loved
They tell you
King
what to do.
George.
You're a part of a
They would have
system
loved.
that's for endless war. Yeah, they'd vote for King George if he like, Donald Trump, I mean, King Trump. Like they don't give a shit. Like that's what they.
It's
Hi,
fine.
King Trump.
If that was on the
Intergalactic
if I
King Trump to you.
if we had it on the ballot, would you vote for fucking King George or George Washington? These motherfuckers would vote for fucking King George.
You
No,
know
we
that
were
that
wrong.
George
Sorry.
Washington fellow was a bit of a radical.
Yeah.
I don't really like
You
him.
know, and to your point, I really thought about that. I was like, technically, there's no way Washington and basically the founding fathers weren't leftists. They disagreed with the conservative status order and believed in a lot different, radicalized, and more populist version of freedom. Not for everybody, of course. That's always the asterisk of it. But
Yeah,
language-wise,
everybody but women and black
yeah.
people.
But language-wise, that was a lot more progressive than what the fuck. Than being
no
a
one right-wing
colonist,
would have
being
crafted.
governed by another parliament and halfway across the entire earth. Like that's a lot different.
Yeah, like no one on the right at that time would have crafted the declaration.
I mean, you could say the elites are so disconnected from us. They might as well be on the other side of the fucking planet.
That's why they're globalists.
How
Alex
disconnected-
Jones
Well,
is
they
right.
pretty much do live like that.
Yep.
I mean,
Yeah,
they don't even
Yep.
house their money here because they just don't want any sort of tax like any tax on it. You know what I mean? Like-
gotta hide that shit on the offshore account.
Damn.
Like they don't. None of them motherfuckers live in the real world of the USA. They don't have to deal with the problems.
Or the documents.
Do you think any of the shit that's come out in 2020 has affected their lives in any way other than making more money? I mean,
No, Nancy Pelosi made bangs, man. She was when she was asked about the pandemic, she was talking about how much she loved fucking ice cream and how much she keeps ice cream just fucking stocked to the roof in her house.
yeah. Meanwhile, people can't afford ice cream right now because they couldn't even pay the rent.
Shout out.
It's like I couldn't even buy all the booze I wanted because I gotta save money.
Booze money.
I gotta cut down on my booze.
Alright,
Man,
come
if
on.
you didn't have 37 cats, you'd have your booze.
Got him.
At
Come
least
on,
my cats are interesting.
Come on, let's finish the speech if it's halfway done.
All right.
So,
All right, hit play.
And I want to give a special thank you, first of all, to everyone here today, because you're all so amazing. But in particular, there are some of the speakers today that have done so much to educate myself and everybody else in the world, really, about what the United States is doing around the world, because that's a job the corporate media refuses to do and won't do.
See, that's that MK Ultra 2.0 shit I be talking about. Like, it's as simple as that. Like, if the whole goddamn media ain't telling you what the hell's happening when it's their job, something's wrong.
Oh man, most of these people don't know about Yemen. Definitely don't know about Palestine.
Yeah,
Why
RA
would they want
mentioned
to
it.
tell you about that when they can sensationalize the protest that's going on and make it seem crazy and radical that people are
Hell,
protesting this
they
for
don't
so
even
many
think
days?
it's protests. They think it's riots happening all across the
That's
country.
what I'm saying. They can sensationalize it instead of telling you the real
Exactly.
issues. They would rather sensationalize the outcome of an issue instead of even talking about why the people are protesting in the first place.
Yeah.
They won't tell you what's going on in other parts of the world. They won't tell you that there's still a shadow war that we're doing in Africa, what we're doing in Yemen, the fact that we give all of this military aid to fucking Saudi Arabia, who's the number one
Military
fucking sponsor
intervention.
of terrorism in the Middle East.
Shout out.
Like,
Military
they won't tell you
intervention.
that shit. Meanwhile, they'll tell you about how Israel is so bad in Syria and how we need to go into Syria and cause another fucking war. Like,
Hey, remember when Congress voted to get out of Yemen, and then Trump said, "Nah, fuck it, stay there, dog."
And then
listen,
this is that thing where I told you where they take turns, and then Trump wanted to get out of Afghanistan, and Congress told him no. It's one big club. They all listen when they all are
They
on the
kept
same
switching.
side, and they all take turns being the bad guy. They're all bad. Okay, it's not complicated. That's what pisses me off. Like that shit works on people. They're like, oh man, well he tried.
Oh no, it does.
It tried.
Yeah,
It's the other
exactly.
guy's
They're
fault.
they're gonna say it's a Democrat's fault. They wouldn't let them get out of Afghanistan, so we had to stay there. And it's like, bruh,
You're the
like
president.
Congress should be the ones who say
Congress,
when we get in and
Congress
out of
shouldn't
war.
be able to do.
So
Yeah, I
it
was
should
gonna
be
say.
just up to them.
Well,
It should
in
just
an
be
illegal
up to
war,
Congress.
it shouldn't be up to Congress. Again, this is what I mean. Like, how the fucking presidents can endlessly fucking how could fucking Reagan fucking fund fucking a whole little army in a fucking what was it, Iran? Then the Iran Contra shit. But motherfucker Trump can't do the opposite and dissolve a fucking entire war. Like what? How? How does it work one way but never the other way? You know?
because it's easy to start war.
It's harder to end it.
I mean,
you got dudes who are like, I love the war. We gotta be over there.
The most we'll ever get is when he ramped up. He went from 8,000 to 14,000 troops. No, 8,000 to 16,000, and then brought home 8, and then considered it a win. He pulled out. It's like, you know.
Yeah.
It's like,
oh, we're gonna take out 5,000 troops. And it's like, never mind.
Just
that we
the extra 5 that you
there.
put there. Yeah.
Yeah.
Just the extra 5,000 you sent. Like, that's a win though.
4 more years. 4 more years. All right. Everybody ready?
You.
Go ahead, hit play.
And that is why I personally am not for any war unless I'm willing to go fight in it myself. That's why the only war I am for is the war on drugs.
True.
I'm fighting for drugs. Yeah. I think we're going to win, actually. I'm feeling good about it, and I'm doing my part one joint at a time. But we are here today to say it is time to end the duopoly, and we cannot settle for less. And the time is now, because if not now, when? Because at the end of the day, my friends, there is nothing pragmatic about an incremental solution to a catastrophic problem. My name is Ron Placone. You can learn more about me at ronplacone.com.
It was a great fucking
Thank you very
speech.
much for allowing.
I agree. I got Ron's back on this war. I'm helping out one blunt at a time, so we're trying.
One blunt at a time.
I got all my neighbors trying to sell and buy shit from me right now.
And then he said, if not now, when? And Jesse said something similar in the one promo Draft Jesse vid. He's like, if not now, when? If not
you, then who?
Yeah, and I was like, I get chills when I hear that, man. That is still... I was like, that's how a patriot thinks.
Yeah.
So that's the wrong one.
I really fuck with that part where he was like, I'm not for war unless I'm willing to fight in it. And that goes into my whole thing. Is like, if we're in a part of the world, you know, like if we vote to go to war or whatever, I say Congress, like, all right, man, strap up, get the guns out, you coming with us. Like, ain't no way you finna send dudes to war and not be there yourself. You gonna go through it with us.
That's the easiest part, dude. They just tell you to do it.
Nah, man, like, come with us, dog.
You think a president or a member of Congress or the Senate would be so hasty to get us in a war if they knew their kid was fighting in it, or if they had to fight in it? Fuck no.
Hell yeah, man. I'm trying to get Nancy Pelosi next to me while I'm being a mechanic out in the desert again, dog. I'm like, turn that wrench, bitch. We gotta get this unit out there.
Dude,
Change that oil.
she's so dried up and dusty. If you stuck her in armor, her bones would shatter.
Bruh, she wouldn't be able to get up. We saw that shit. She took a knee and couldn't get back up.
Getting down's the easy part. Getting up, boy. Sorry.
Her husband don't get no head. She's like, if I get on my knees, I can't get back up. No head for you.
But
none of that granny neck. That turkey gobble shit. Are we still going with this, or is this gonna be cut out the video? By the way.
No, we're gonna go right into the Jesse one whenever you're done being weird. You a weird dude. I don't condone any of this. Just a crusty, dusty part, baby.
all right.
Heard old teeth falling out and shit. Yeah, get that Jesse interview cocked and loaded.
She gonna take her teeth out. I was like, I'm giving you that good.
She be talking. You just hear that the whole fucking. Dude, when anytime Jimmy tries to play one of her or anybody play one of her speeches, and I hear her doing that, I'm like, I can't. This is fucking gross and weird.
I can't listen to her talk. every other word.
Do.
She can. Well, I wouldn't know if I'd call what she does talking, but that's besides. That's Jimmy's joke. Is like
Verbal
that's the
diarrhea.
speaker of the house. The speaker, the lady that can barely speak, is the speaker.
Hey, a dude that can barely say sentences is running for president. So it suits.
Listen. I think Trump should come out in support of the for drugs. He should just do a line of coke and come out and fucking debate Joe Biden. That'd be entertaining as fuck. He always on speed or something. Just come and do a line of coke on stage.
Is that why he wanted Biden to take a drug test?
Yeah,
before?
They're both doing.
I find it funny that Trump brings that up. I'm like, Trump, we both know you'd flunk that shit. This man got Sudafeds in his drawer at the White House.
Well, that was my joke. I was like, oh, look, another typical rich white guy wanting to know what's in your piss. I was like, Trump's definitely the business owner of America.
That's a good point.
Fucking illegal, disgusting, gross motherfuckers.
It'd be that shit. It's like, hey, what your employer want to know what you do when you at home? Like, it don't matter. I'm not at work.
Yeah, like if you want to know the invasion of privacy corporations have on you, look at no further than that. That's, again, the whole drug war should be unconstitutional. Nowhere in the fucking foundation of the government does it anywhere say that the government can and can't tell you what you can and can't put in your body or do to your body or do to you, shit like that. And yet, we live that way now. It's like, what?
Dudes think it's normal. Hell, I was surprised whenever U-Haul was like, no one can smoke tobacco anymore. And I was like, really? Like, the tobacco smokers ain't coming out to say nothing about this?
Big tobacco ain't kick them back any money, I guess.
Big tobacco ain't gonna try and stop this? It's like, nah, man. It's like, they don't care. And what was U-Haul's reasoning? It was real corporatist, or like real capitalist. Like, they spend too much time smoking. We need them working more.
Oh yeah, it's like that Family Guy joke in the Star Wars episodes where the two dudes who are in control of the tractor beam. He's like, I asked him if we could put a rail here, but you know what they said? We'd be leaning too much.
Oh yeah, I do remember that. Oh man,
leaning all day.
Can't have leaning. That's that American shit when they're like cashiers can't have chairs because if you're not standing, you're not working. But we all got this Jesse video pulled up.
Yeah, though.
Here we go.
All right.
15.
I'm former Minnesota Governor Jesse Ventura, the 38th governor of the great state of Minnesota. And the first thing that I want to get clear is this is not a campaign talk. I am not running for any public office at this time.
At this time, okay?
This time. Very, very tongue-in-cheek. Very tongue-in-cheek.
Look at his smiles at the start, too. Like, man.
He plotting, man. He knows he's like that. Because you know, like, whoever is, like, you know, in his office, like, every day, or, like, whoever, like, signs his paychecks or whatever the fuck, they're like, oh, if you're running, you can't, we can't pay you no benefits, nothing like that. So he's like, oh, I'm not running. It's like, of course,
At
I'm not
this
running.
time.
Yeah, I say it every time I go on there. I'm not running for president this time.
Yep, that's why I said all these haters on Twitter that be like, Jesse's not running, fuck you, vote for one of these pieces of shits. And I'm like, again, I don't know where you're getting your information from, because when I go right to the source, he literally says, quote, at this time. So that's all I need to hear. Hashtag draft Jesse.
Because they can't read in between the lines.
Nah,
Man.
there's.
They're not good at
That's
that.
why I say,
They're
like,
not
Corey
good
would get it. It's like, man, like, when you listen to JL enough and you hear fucking subliminal at the start and you a hip-hop head and you understand about subliminals and shit, and now you got Jesse saying, at this time, and is literally the first topic he talks about is draft, about drafts. It's like, come on, man, like...
Do you think maybe that's because they don't listen to rap? Like when ISO says like he's a weekend dad, like they think it's the weekend and that he's not weekend as a person. Like they just don't get it, you know? They're not listening to enough rap. They just don't understand.
They have a speaker of the house that can't speak. You think any of these motherfuckers can read? Like, come on.
You right. You right. You right. All right, let's go ahead and hit play.
But I do want to make a political
69.
statement in the light of what we live under today, and a brief history. First of all, I'm 69 years old now. I'm a graduate of Minneapolis Roosevelt High School, and if you recall the recent events with Mr. Floyd and his death in Minneapolis, that happened right in my neighborhood, South Minneapolis, between Roosevelt and South High School, where I grew up. I'm very familiar with it. And so that's a little bit of history of me. I joined the Navy right out of high school. I'm a Vietnam veteran. I came home. The first thing I did, I was rebellious, and I walked with the Stop the Draft movement. I wanted the draft ended because...
Boom. So, and he also mentions that he's, the George Floyd fucking shit and everything, more than the fucking Democrat Party did. It's just...
You talking about that Kente clause shit?
I meant their convention, but yeah. Like, and then he mentions draft, the word draft, which is, at this time. Anyway.
I do like that he's 69 years old.
He for the memers. He for the memer. The only president that's worth it down. That's the only option that's worth it down. He ain't president yet. But
Yo, random question, but what you think of someone like Nina Turner?
So my stance is like I said, like when I was a political novice and I went to the Bernie thing, she was there giving a speech. She was good. I liked it. She supported Bernie from the start, and she since then has continued to fight for the people. I could have swore that her like I don't. You can only trust him as far as you can throw him at this point. Any politician, but she's again better than every Democrat, including Tulsi Gabbard. So fuck it. Like,
well,
I'm
what
cool with her.
I've
She hasn't
liked
done
about
anything bad,
Nina Turner,
to my
and
knowledge.
the reason I continue to like watch her stuff more and more is she still doesn't come out and she didn't back Hillary and she doesn't back Biden.
Well, yeah, she literally said something about a bowl of shit or something. Like, she shitted all over
Yeah,
Biden,
like she
man.
literally, she literally didn't do what Bernie did.
Yeah, that's why she's in another class. Like I said, I've been telling Bruce, and I keep posting on Twitter, like Tulsi's stance on why she didn't vote for the AOC banning, the AOC addition to the appropriation bill about no money going to Twitch. Her excuse was some bullshit propaganda shit that you'd expect from a right winger. So I was like, you know what, if you're not again, she's only against regime change wars. She's not against the military-industrial complex. Nina Turner's against corruption and all this other shit, and she's not with the Democratic Party anymore. She's at the People Party. She was literally the final speech for this. Like, and people for the longest time were pushing draft Jesse with Nina as the VP. So, and I wasn't against that. So, like, my stance on Nina is positive. That's for sure.
It was just a random side question.
No, it's an important one though.
Need to be said. All right, everybody ready? go ahead, hit play.
The draft was a horrible thing that was totally discriminating, and the rich kids get out like Donald Trump, and the poor kids have to go. And so, and most of the poor kids were kids of color would have to go to the war. And so I marched against the draft. We were successful in eliminating it. I've also marched for the Equal Rights Amendment for women, and been involved lately. And I marched multiple times to change the name of the Washington football team.
So I knew about the Washington football team issue because of him years ago, because he mentioned it on his show. And like I said, before this even happened, like it was like early this year, before everything, before shit went crazy, or it was like end of last year. It was sometime. It was last football season, and Mike Florio mentioned it and went into detail why he was against it and everything. So like I knew that was an issue, thanks to Jesse, and then I heard Florio, another smart person on smart shit, talk about it and was on that, and I was like, oh, okay. Like, it was another litmus test for these motherfuckers, and a lot of these people failed.
The thing I wanna cherry pick out of there real quick is how he, very diligently said that the draft was pretty much targeted towards poor people and people of color. And you still see that with military recruitment today.
That's how the Army's always been, dude.
Yeah, I'm just saying, doesn't make it right. Doesn't make it right. I don't care if it's always been like that. It still needs to be said.
I'm not saying it's not right. I'm just saying it's like, it's not an abstract opinion. You know what I mean? It's always been that way.
Yeah, I just like mentioning it because they may not have a draft, but speaking of the Twitch shit, all the recruiting tactics are extremely predatory, and recruiters lie a lot to get people to join.
Yeah, they do. They got caught on that.
Yeah, they do.
How fucked is that? They got caught lying.
My recruiter told me I was getting a fucking bonus, and it never happened because he didn't put it on my fucking paper.
Hey, bro, they do that shit all the time. I've been trying. I legit used to get shit in the mail about getting recruited.
Yeah, bro. Ever since my freshman year of high school, they had those fucking recruiters just chilling in the hallways and chilling at lunch like fucking kids.
That's why they're pro-life. So they can. It's just like what George Carlin said. They're pro-life, so they can raise you to be a dead soldier.
Yeah,
R.I.P. Carlin.
Just needs to be said. All right, everybody ready? You got anything?
No, that's good.
All right, hit play.
So I've always been a bit of a radical in a way, rebel, whatever you want to call me. Dennis Kucinich, the great congressman from Ohio, after dinner one night, called me the greatest free spirit he had ever met. And that was one of the greatest compliments I could ever get from someone like Dennis, too, especially.
Okay, so Dennis Kucinich, this guy is a real badass. Remember, Ron Placone said he was supporting him in I think it was the 2008 primary for president.
Yeah.
Again, Dennis Kucinich is a real one. He's from Ohio, shout out. I think they phased out his district, and that's why he lost his seat. And when Obama was president, he was advocating for Medicare for all, and like basically at a rally or whatever, Obama tried to fucking guilt shame him to vote for the bullshit Obamacare bullshit. So Dennis Kucinich is a real one, and so that's why again Jesse mentioning him makes me happy as fuck.
Like he like that radical part. No incrementalism with Jesse. It's
he used to be a fucking rebel. Like, ooh.
Yeah, he ain't no politician. He a motherfucking rebel.
For the Rebel Alliance.
The rebel scum. Jesse, you rebel scum.
Like I said, and I'll bring it in here again. He says draft. He says rebel. He says at this time. Never forget, and he brings it up coming up in a little bit, and I'll bring it up again. But I'll wait. I'll save it. You know what?
Basically, there's a lot of subliminal messages going on through Jesse speaking.
Yeah, I like.
You gotta pierce the veil a little bit. Peek what's behind the curtain. All right, let's go ahead and hit play.
But my history is I've always been third party. I mean, I voted for John Anderson way back in the Ronald Reagan era. I have voted third party politics constantly because I've seen the destruction and I understand. John Adams, one of our forefathers of the country, warned us, I believe it was Adams, when he said when political parties take over the government, when they become so powerful, that will be the end of the United States as we know it. Well, people, don't you think we're kind of there right now?
So yeah, he was 100% right. I don't know if it was John Adams or not. It might have been. I found two different things. I found Washington. There's that meme I sent Bruce before. There's this Washington from his farewell address, Saturday, September 17th, 1796, and it says, "This is Washington. However, political parties may now and then answer popular ends, they are likely, in the course of time and things, to become potent engines by which cunning ambitions and unprincipled men will be enabled to subvert the power of the people, to usurp for themselves the reins of government, destroying afterwards the very engines which have lifted them to unjust dominion." And this other quote I have from Washington, it says, however, it's the same one. Whoops. But anyways, it's the same quote. I found a different source for it than just a meme. Cite my sources. This is legit. And I just want to say, and remember, just like Washington, he wasn't elected, he was drafted. He wasn't elected once, he was drafted twice. It was an underfunded rebellion. Jesse's a rebel. You know, it's just the parallels are unmatched. It's really spooky.
And they say history repeats itself, man.
Well, that's what pisses me off,
reincarnated?
How's it going? I mean, that's what pisses me off. It does repeat, but these motherfuckers never willing to break the cycle, or
they never learn.
Yeah, like that's why
they choose not to learn.
Like, I truly think that this draft Jesse said is the best option. Like, out of all the other options, I still think draft Jesse, draft Congress.
No, it's not the best option. Not at all. It's the only option.
That too. Well, anarchism is always an option. Just fucking everybody just go bonkers. Everybody go bonkers.
Right.
That's always
there is a third option.
Burn everything down.
Blow it up.
But I'm not a big fan of complete anarchism.
Well, that's my thing. That's my thing. It's like, if I die and I'm killed by the feds, just set it all on fire. I tweeted that out just in case anything ever happens to me and people want to bring up the whole Colt, he wouldn't want this. And it's like, nah, I would. This is exactly the plan.
Shit, if I die, it's most likely a setup. Unless it was not a setup, then I might have died. And I'm not really.
I mean, that's my thing. The answer is always yes, and else it should be no.
All right, so. Kenny.
All right, let's go ahead and hit play again.
The two political parties have really taken over, and I like to refer them as really the one political party. They're the corporate party.
Got them.
Because when I was governor, I brought the third-party people together to try to get them under one roof. And unfortunately, it was like herding cats. But I did find out
a lot of
what
cats,
we had
Bruce
in
knows.
common. And here's what we had in common. We didn't take the dirty money.
Ain't that hard to herd
That's
cats
what
on.
all the third parties pretty much have in common. We're not dirty with the PAC money and the dirty corporate money. The other two parties are.
So I just want to point out that, and this is the last timestamp I got, so from here on out, you got to call out when you want to pause. But, that was the big Justice Democrat thing. We're not taking corporate money. Bernie was like, we're not taking corporate money. And then here you have Jesse also, who's been it's been his stance the entire time. His political, don't take corporate money. Independents don't take corporate money is fucked. It's not complicated.
Oh, at this rate, you might as well just write that in law. It's like, hey, no PAC money, like no billionaire, no millionaire money.
Well, it needs to be written in law.
Yeah.
I mean, it's kind of fucked that you can say, oh, money is speech, and then not see how that leads to corruption. Because if you have the means to play the game,
more speech.
If you have the means to play the game, your speech outweighs my speech. Like, it's not right.
Monopoly money. It's my board.
And they wonder why things like, I mean, with anything. I mean, one of Trump's first things was there was like $300,000 that got funneled through his hotel, and then he does a a multi-billion-dollar weapons deal with Saudi Arabia. Like, that's not a coincidence.
Shout out.
It's fucking bought and paid for corruption.
Hey, Jesse always says, follow the money.
That's all you got to do. If you ever wonder why a president makes a decision that actively goes against what the overwhelmingly populated position of the United States, I mean, it's why we don't have legalized weed.
Shout out.
You know, I mean, that's overwhelming. I think it's what, 70%, or is it 60 or 70%?
That was a couple of years ago. It got to be higher now.
That overwhelmingly support legalization of marijuana. If you wonder why it's not a thing, follow the money. Big Pharma has a stranglehold and has however many politicians in their fucking pocket.
And they need time to set up institutions to siphon the money from that system anyway. So they're rigging. Even when it becomes legalized, it looks like they're going to have it rigged in their favor anyways.
Yeah, that was a thing in Oklahoma. They said a lot of the smaller like weed dispensaries all got bought up by the same company, like almost immediately.
What I saw scary is, like, you remember Marlboro tweeted out some some weed cigarettes, and it's like even if it gets legalized, you know, big tobacco could wind up owning it.
And then, well, it's also the fields and who's allowed to grow. And again, this is why it's all unconstitutional, and the government shouldn't fucking care what the fuck I do, or it's none of their fucking business, first of all. And second of all, they can go fuck themselves. And third of all, and when it was in Ohio trying to get legalized, they had it written in that only like 6 different companies could like grow it in like very certain locations, and like one of them was like a celebrity was in on it to get money. It was a completely scam. So if it was legalized,
you think I can like take a tobacco plant and just grow it in my garden?
That's on you.
You know, since it's legal.
Since
it's legal.
Tobacco, yeah, but don't let them catch you with peyote.
Yeah, he filling up his water in the top right. Shut up. All right. Yeah, well, just let me know when you want to pause it from here on out, and let us know when it's paused so we can all be synced up most of the time.
What time mark is everyone at?
3:01, 3-ish.
Okay.
I was at 2:59, so yeah, 3-ish.
Yeah, it's all.
Okay, yeah. Okay.
All right. Hit play.
And always remember this. The 2 major parties today, they put their party before the country. You see that constantly. Protect the political party, the party's power. They aren't necessarily doing what's best for the people of America.
Boss.
That's number 1.
That's why we don't have Medicare as a human right.
Yeah, he has a grand theory, or not grand theory, but just like he has it in order of how the politicians vote on shit, and you know, it's like party, and corporate interests, and the people like 4th or 5th. You know, it's shit like that.
That's also why we don't have a minimum wage. It's a living wage, because
they whacked JFK. He did that under his thing. He raised it.
Yeah,
and he was about to say fuck the Federal Reserve, and he was going to reduce the budget of CIA.
And here's what I don't understand about the huge divide and why people, especially on the left, can't really see it. Because he brings up it's just one party, the Corporate Party. It's fucking true. I mean, they all have the same donors. They all serve the same people on Wall Street and Big Pharma, mobile, you know, it's why we don't have a Green New Deal. It's why we still use oil. It's why we're in all these third world countries jacking their resources and oil. They all serve the same fucking donors.
Well, and it's one big game. It's the politics is the entertainment division of the military industrial complex. Like, you can see Trump absolutely lying about what fucking Kamala's for on Twitter. And one of them was like the Green New Deal and a bunch of other shit. And I'm like, dude, Kamala is not for that.
I remember seeing that.
It was an article. There's another article where it was like Trump was trying to find a new nickname for Kamala. And I was like, she already has one, dumbass, but you can't use it because you were for the police state too. Karma.
Yeah, exactly.
I was like, she got a nickname. And if any of the fucking Trump supporters call her that to my face, I'm going to call her Kamala to them. Like, fuck Biden. Fuck Trump. He can't even use the proper nickname. Karma.
Well, here's why I think he's lost all political instinct. Because the first strategy against Biden was he tried to say Biden was far left.
That's how you... You fucking brainwash people to think you have a real political encompassing system. That's just part of that.
Yeah, because
he's lying on purpose.
Because then all his all his
Yeah.
right-wing followers who are just automatically against anything far left are like, oh yeah, fuck Biden, even though
Who with true
Biden
brain
is
cells
further
believes
right.
that though?
Everybody
He
on,
literally
Go look.
wrote the crime bill.
everybody voting in the
Go
two-party
look at it.
system.
You'd be surprised.
These
You'd be
motherfucking right-wingers
surprised
just
how
like
many people believe it.
right-wingers are calling rioters and shit Marxists and shit. I'm like, I don't think you know what the fuck Marxism is.
They
Like, that
wish they were Marxists.
they don't know
wish
what
they were
Marxism is. Like, I was like, I wish they were, but that's the problem. They mostly neoliberals in the fucking streets, as we've learned. Like, or anchored people without enough political education to understand why they hate the system, but they know the system's fucked. And so,
Yep. That's the biggest point. Is everyone knows the system's fucked, but they don't know why it's fucked.
yeah, because
Or
they
what
killed
to
all
do to fix it.
they killed all the leaders in the '60s and early '70s that could have fucking changed it then, and so now we had to wait 2.5 generations later to fucking do this all over again.
Now we just gotta find our leaders. We gotta find dudes who's willing to stick their neck out and basically be like, all right, guys, the CIA, I got like 6 months to live. The
Well,
feds
we
won't
do
come
have
get
the
me.
leaders. They just get painted as crazy.
Who?
That's how it always is.
Who?
When you talk on the side of the people, you get painted as a fucking lunatic.
Who besides
Who?
Jesse? I'm talking like dudes in the streets, like a Malcolm X type guy or a girl.
I mean, you got people like Killer Mike out there. You got people like Immortal Technique.
They out there, but not out there.
Not
Yeah,
out
like
there.
no
out
one's
there.
They're not at the size of
like no
Malcolm
one's
and
like
Martin,
rallying.
or even trying.
Yeah, no one's like
they're not
rallying
yeah.
the troops, so to speak.
They're not trying to be
You
that
know,
size.
and be like, this is like, yo, this is what we're doing. Like,
Such a
like no one's going to them and asking like, all right, what's the next step? And they're laying out the plan.
True. I see what you're saying.
Like, that's why everybody was mad about, because again, Bernie could have been that, but he was a pussy and didn't want to run independent in 2016. And again, see, that's one of those crossroads. He was at a crossroad. Do I want to be the next person to save this country, or do I want to join the destruction of the country? And he chose.
Yep.
So when it comes up naturally in history and they make the wrong choice, we all pay the price. Not Bernie. We do. Not him. And that's the problem. And that's the problem fundamentally with politics, is these politicians get to live their lives and we have to suffer the consequences, which is not how politics should work.
That's a good point.
Hey, you say that until the guillotine starts being brought out.
Bernie or guillotine. Now it's Bernie on the guillotine and everybody else. Got him.
All right, let's go ahead and hit play.
That's
Oh, wait,
number
where do we
one
at? Where are we
on
at?
their-
Where are we at?
320.
All right, yeah, go ahead, hit play.
That's number one on their priority. Number two, the donors, the money people, the people that keep them in power, the people that pave the way. They're the ones that get the tax cuts. They're the ones that get the money bailouts when our economy tanks.
All right,
So
pause. Okay, when he talks about the economy tanking and how they're the ones get the bailout, I just very quickly, I gotta tell y'all that at some point, the U.S. Dollar was literally less than worthless because our money is backed by the petrodollar, backed by oil. That shit was like in the negative 20s, and the country just kept running as normal, even though we were all playing with monopoly money. So, and they still couldn't bail out the people. Even when our own currency was worthless, they still wouldn't give the people a fucking thing.
Well,
That has to be said.
It's an interesting thing to where, like, we can bail out Wall Street and corporations and banks. You know, Obama did it in 2008 when the housing market crashed. He bailed out Wall Street on his way out the fucking door. Trump bailed out the banks when COVID started collapsing the economy here. You know, but when it comes to a bailout of the people, we can never afford it.
Of course.
We can never afford that shit. We couldn't even afford supplemental monthly income right now.
Hey, never forget. We never forget. Not only they say we can't afford it, they would get a chunk of that money back if they did it through taxes. You know, the sales tax and shit.
Yeah.
True.
So
And
it's even lies.
It's because their whole dumb ass like economy theory that they built around like their invisible hand shit and their fucking trickle down economics. It's all ass backwards. Money don't trickle down. There's a reason why the people who
Money
are
should
the
trickle up.
elitists are at the top. You know, it's not because Bezos ain't gonna be like, all right, I'm finna fix the economy. Here's my plan.
No, he
No, his
can
whole
end
thing is
world hunger.
yeah, he can do whatever he wants, and he spends most of his days doing nothing for the people. So
Just
anyone
the
who's
extra
looking,
money he's made since COVID started
Yep.
oh my gosh,
could give us
His
all health
stupid.
care.
But that's not gonna happen. It's never gonna happen. The dudes at the top are not concerned with the
How are
problems
they going
at
to
the people
afford
at
it,
the bottom.
Bruce?
What do you mean? How are you gonna afford it? They can just they can always afford it.
They don't have that much money. They probably need another tax cut so they don't fall below like a trillionaire.
Yeah, they might have to sell their other house or something.
You mean how Bezos had to pay $0 with Amazon? Yeah. All those tax dollars that he's paying.
No, he's had to dish out so much to give his people a fair wage.
Yo, that white dude
Yeah,
going
yeah, we have
bonkers in
to-
fucking Denver. Oh my god,
Really?
white people don't like being confronted about racism. His
fucking-
chick's trying to calm him down. He was flipping tables or something like a Bernie bro. This is fucking bonkers.
Yeah, like how when
we're about to see a fight.
No, there's too many people. They won't fight, but he's just gonna act tough in front of people because that's how white people are. See, he's fucking little. I'm gonna take my anger out on a fucking table because racism. Fucking moron. Look, look at him. He's fucking corny as shit. Oh my god.
Who's next? You want some?
It's fucking fake internet tough guys, but this ain't the internet. This is real life.
Oh, you think that's his girlfriend?
Yeah, she was talking shit to the camera too, but now she's on the side of him not fucking doing something stupid. It's really fucking weird. I was watching this unfold the last couple of minutes. God damn.
That'll like one of the girls C-Plan will go after.
Come on, why you gonna shade my dude?
It was a free shot. I had to take it. It was a free shot. I had to take it.
He won't go and fucking give us some live reporting, so shit.
But yeah,
she's still shitting on him, man. Oh man.
Oh no, he even pushed his girl to the side.
Yeah, I see. She's gonna get his ass whipped because he's fucking up his chick.
Whoa!
Like, people don't like when you beat the shit out of your wives. That's why they hate cops. Like, your ass gonna get whooped next. Like, keep trying that shit.
He definitely ain't getting no poon tonight.
Yeah, see, they don't like that. You start fucking hurting a chick or something, people gonna whoop your ass. Like, this isn't the fucking 1900s, dude. They're blurring it out. Oh, man.
Oh, they blurred it. No.
I'm going to cut the
What's
plastic.
happening?
I'm going to YouTube.
What's happening?
I'm finding out. I want to know.
They got him.
Go to my boy Cut the Plastic over on YouTube. He's on. Oh, fuck, man. Anyway.
So while Aaron's going to fucking cut the plastic, it's back. It's back up on.
Is it back? I don't know if nothing happened. I think it might have got away. God, that was crazy.
Fuck. But yeah, Bezos had to be pushed to give his people a $15 minimum wage. Like, he didn't do that on his own volition. He was pushed to do it.
Speaking of that, the co-writer of those bills, what the fuck happened to O'Connor? Where'd that dude go? He gone.
Don't trust any Democrats. Same with
dude, MIA. He wrote like 2 good bills and then he gone.
They're part of the cult. I wouldn't trust any of them. Just like Rand Paul put in that fucking no-knock warrant shit in the Senate, and like that was it. I was like, fake libertarian alert. Like, you're not against the police state. You're not a real libertarian. Like, sorry to tell you. Like.
And fucking with how Bezos and his company's policy was whenever COVID broke out, was like, oh, don't tell no one you have it. If you got you still gotta come to work. Firing the people that were exposing it, like, that's not, like, he ain't no good dude. He ain't no savior. Like, he don't care about his employees. He's not gonna care about his employees. That's how he got rich. But
yeah, I'm ready.
Yeah, what minute?
You're ready.
3:42. What y'all at? All right, good. Go ahead and hit play.
Naturally, they're the second ones fixed or taken care of. Then finally with them, it's their own personal view, whatever they may feel personally about an issue. And we, the people, might be fourth. But something else could sneak in there. We very well could be fifth for all that I don't know everything. But
It wasn't there. Just remember, this motherfucker is my cousin. He literally said, I don't know everything. I was like, yes, there you go. When will you see a politician say that? Jesus. That's why I said this guy is so George Washington. It's not funny. Like, this motherfucker knows his limitations and shit and will admit them. I was like, thank you. Like, fuck. You know, we're not.
It ain't hard to admit you don't know everything.
Yeah, we're not electing a fucking king or something that has to know everything because that's the government design. We're electing this guy who's gonna act as consultants, you know, his cabinet of people for their ideas and comb through them and brainstorm it with them and then come to a solution. Like that's what the president's supposed to do.
I, for one, like a good tyrant. I don't know what you mean.
All right, I'm 4-minute mark.
All right, yeah, 4-minute mark. Hit play.
Everything. But there's a division in this country today, and it's the
division.
Biggest it's ever been. You know, I heard it described the other day. It's like going back to the 60s. And yes, it is in a way. And I lived through the 60s. I lived through Dr. Martin Luther King. I was a teenager back then. I was a young 13-year-old when President John F. Kennedy was assassinated. And I don't buy for 1 minute Lee Harvey Oswald acted alone if he acted at all.
Pause that there, 431. Okay, and this is what I was going bonkers. Remember, during the first ever People's Convention speech, Jesse Ventura dropped the JFK conspiracy. I was so happy.
Yeah.
I was like, yes.
I don't even think it's a conspiracy at this point. Didn't like something come out where there was like?
Well, it goes against the official government narrative, so I would
Lee
classify
Harvey, like fucking Oswald. Like it came out that it was like, yeah, he was working with the FBI or the CIA.
Yeah,
like
with
one of those.
Yeah, with one of them.
Yeah, he was working with them.
something.
Yeah,
For sure, dude.
was
JFK was trying to get people more money, so he had to get bought.
What was it? It was because he was getting off the petrodollar. He was gonna make his own currency. It was gonna be backed by. It was gonna be a silver certificate dollar, amongst other things. But that, like, it ain't a coincidence that everybody worth a damn in the '60s and '70s got whacked. From JFK, RFK, Malcolm to Martin to Fred Hampton, they all got whacked.
They had to.
They spoke the truth.
If you're on the right side of something, you get whacked for it.
So it ain't no conspiracy. I think anyone at this point who's like, oh,
there's certain things that get painted as conspiracies, but it's not a conspiracy. Like 9/11 is not a fucking conspiracy. We all know what happened and why it happened and why we did it.
We don't know everything about that either. We don't. I call them a conspiracy because it goes against the official government stance. Because as always, you never trust the government. They're always fucking wrong. It seems. Oh, the police state's out.
I think if there's sufficient enough evidence that it's like, you know, you can start doubting it. It's no other conspiracy. It's just the government lying.
Like we'll never know. I doubt we'll ever know what happened to Building 7 on 9/11. Like, but it's one of the biggest questions that we ever should fucking ask. Like, how the fuck does a building just fall down that didn't get hit by a plane? I would love to find out. I would love to know.
They don't want you to know. Hurts the bottom line.
Might have to wait till the next Black Ops game for that one.
And the conspiracy people are like, man, they microwaved it with they had tinfoil microwaves on everything. Kaboom! That's why it blew up in a straight line and shit. I was like, all right, man, I don't know about these guys either. That's what I mean. Like, the conspiracy people give shit a bad name. It's like, even if they write about they fucking death rays and shit, they're not being used when they claim they being used. That's the problem. It's like, come on,
I don't know. I be getting random chest pains and you make me scared.
All right, Bill Biddy, come on, man. Come on, man.
I do, man. I do. Like, for the past 2 days, I've had random ass chest pains. I think they firing warning shots at me.
Scared. They got a little chip that controls that shit.
Yeah, it's a little tease setting, you know, just let them know we're here.
You think it's your Matrix chip going off when you hear that ring in your ears all of a sudden?
Get him.
Yeah, dude, it's like, I'm scared.
It's like a glitch in your programming.
Apparently, remember Cornel West was in the Matrix.
Yeah.
I hate it here. I hate it here.
Are you ready?
Yeah, hit play.
But that aside, that's another story.
It's another story.
But I lived through all that tension. I lived through the death of Robert Kennedy and his murder along with Dr. King.
Shout out.
And I thought we were finished with it. but we're not. And that's the thing that bothers me the most today, is the fact that they're forcing me to relive history again. They're forcing me to relive times that I remember in my life today. And I'll state this: I think it's worse today, believe it or not, than it was in the 60s. I think to get to where we're at today, you have to go back another 100 years. You got to go back to the Civil War, because what's happening in our country today is a division. A division in our country. We're being divided up.
That's exactly what I was saying earlier. That divide is why rich motherfuckers aren't scared. They don't care. The more that we're divided amongst each other against, the stuff that's going on like now, the more they get to go out the back door and no one looks.
Yeah, but that's why you don't.
You're right. You're right, because they have that fucking death cult that's with them. Aaron was asking me, do I think a revolution would have to happen under Trump or Biden? And I said, I think it would have to happen under Biden, because Biden don't got a support group like of diehard fans that's gonna literally go out and shoot people for him.
Yeah, but even
Trump
under Biden,
does.
you think MAGA dudes are just gonna go away? They'll still
they're not gonna go.
See, I was trying to tell. See what I'm saying?
They won't go away, but they'll be against the guy in charge now. So they would want to revolt for the wrong reasons, but they still fucking revolt. They're dumbasses, but they're still revolt.
But that would just make MAGA people hit the streets more, especially if it's like a mail-in vote a couple days after the election that Biden wins on or some shit like that.
No, real revolution, not a fake one.
More MAGA people would be hitting the streets saying that it was rigged.
So I disagree with Jesse. I think it's more. I don't even think it's. I know it's civil war is how it feels out in the streets, but I'm saying that's why I've been stressing it nonstop. It's Alex Jones was right. It's 1984 versus 1776. It's a revolution versus the government and the globalists, and not a revolution versus fucking fascists or not fascists, but right wingers and Republicans or whatever they want. That's the propaganda they're stressing, because I think it's that. Now
you call it a civil war if you plan on losing. I say
that's
revolution.
And then to Bruce's point, I was just theorizing that if Biden, like if we had a revolution under Biden, I think the chance of a right-wing fascist taking over in the void is probability goes up a lot. Now, if a revolution happens under, a right-winger fascist, then the probability of a fucking real leftist taking over, or at least a populist taking over, goes up, which is kind of what happened again in 1776. Remember, the first president was not a southern racist, super fucking evil president, but it was one that had fucking goddamn Alexander Hamilton as his treasurer. So,
he did own slaves.
According to Zach, he let him. So apparently he let them free when he died. And sorry, go ahead. He did let him free.
No, I know what you're gonna say. I just still gotta point out he did.
No, I agree. It of course needs to be said, but for compared to the historical context, he's better than the majority of other people, except for fucking Thomas Paine.
Any other statements?
Yeah. Washington was right about the two-party system. Washington died before he saw the country get super fucked while he was dead in the 1800s. He did as much as when he experienced poverty. It's even in the book that it said he was uncomfortable during it. It was like, here's an obvious case that poverty should be illegal. If the fucking President George Washington experienced some sort of poverty, and he didn't like it, then nobody should like it, and nobody should experience it. Like, these are case examples we can fucking use for fucking populist ideologies that lazy fucks don't.
Yeah. Because they think there has to be a poor person,
Yeah. But when it happens to your president, it's cool. Like, what?
Yeah. There has to be somebody below them, that they don't want to be known as the guy on the bottom because they hate the bottom. The only time they want to be a bottom is in the bedroom. When they're getting pegged by their...
No,
when they're getting pegged and when they're getting cut. When they're getting pegged and cut, that's the only time they're bottoms.
Mr. Man under the bridge. I feel you, dude.
All
right, 520 mark.
Yep. Yeah, play.
Just like the Confederacy and just like the Union soldiers. And if that happens, it will be a disaster, a complete disaster. Now, why do we need to elect a third-party president? Here is why. No matter if you elect Trump or Biden, the polarization is going to continue and it's going to get worse. It's going to get worse. The only way out is to give them a common enemy, and that's what the third party does. They fear the third party more than anything else, and guess who knows that from experience? You're looking at it. I got elected governor of Minnesota. I had a Democratic-controlled Senate and a Republican-controlled House, much the same as you see nationally today. Now, for the first 3 years, whoever I sided with generally prevailed. But then we got to year 3. I submitted my budget, which I'm required to do. The Democrats and Republicans got in bed together. They discarded my budget. They came back with one of their own. I vetoed it twice. They overrode my veto twice. Subsequently, using the people of Minnesota for political pawns, their budget didn't work. I had left office, and guess what? Minnesota had a $5 billion deficit because they put their party politics and party power before the good people of Minnesota. The pecking order was them first, the Minnesota people second. And there's a great example of it. Now, nationally, that's what you need to have happen. You must give them a common enemy. Somebody, those two parties, they fear the third party movement more than anything else. And they eventually will jump in bed together and they'll be singing Kumbaya by the fireside. And you'll think, how did this happen? Well, it happened because a third entity entered the game. And that's what we need to have happen in America. A third or even a fourth entity should be entering the game now. We're too diverse. I'm fiscally conservative, but I'm socially liberal. Who do I fit in with? I believe in less government. There's a lot of places I think government could be reduced. But I also believe in social issues. I don't think it's the government's business what your sexual preference is. I don't think it's their business. End the war on drugs. It's been a disaster. And, you know, there's all sorts of things like that that can happen if we break the cycle of the Democrats and Republicans. But that's what you have to do. You have to break the cycle.
That's so good.
And
That's
doing
so
that is
good.
difficult and will be difficult. It may be a 10 or...
I mean, you can't. I just want to be clear. Like, I may not agree with him on everything politically, but, like, again, like, that's not, like, I'm not trying to find me as a person running for president, or I'd run myself. I'm trying to find someone who's not a piece of shit and that will actually do good. And it's never, it's obvious. He's not a fucking useless moron tool that's going to fuck people over on purpose. And also him, but you gotta break the cycle. I don't know, like, if you, like, if I don't know what, like, field it falls under, but, like, breaking the cycle is something you hear all the time in, like, I don't know what fucking, but, like, you hear that, like when it comes to, like, coming out the box, out of the matrix, being not the corny version of being woke, but, like, being conscious or whatever. You hear that, you gotta break the cycle, you know, fish out of water shit. You gotta be the one to change, you know. You just hear that, and, like, he says it there, and the way he says it is just like, yes. It's like, it feels like it doesn't feel like he's giving a speech. It literally feels like he's giving a speech through me. It's just like, holy shit, he's just saying something on another level when he says it that way.
Well, he also sounds, I think, what is needed, especially in the political system we have today, is someone who talks like a fucking human being.
That is true. He's pretty good at that.
You know what I mean?
He's pretty good at being a human.
He doesn't come off as a corporate shill that's just going to say whatever his prompt, you know, tells him to say. He actually speaks as a human being who's thought about it. That alone would be breaking the cycle. Not only is he third party.
And I like how he's like third, fourth. He's like, we need all the parties, more parties. You know, no two parties. Like, we need all the fucking types of ideologies throughout this country, just trying to radiate.
You absolutely need it. I mean, the reason you only have two parties is because you only have two parties is the reason people do the whole lesser of two evils bullshit.
By design.
So, and I think it was CGP Grey that I watched that
Shout
explained
out.
why we only wound up with 2 political systems, which is a great video. Shout out
Because
to
the
CGP
League of
Grey.
Women Voters got rid of them hosting the debates because Ross Perot came in and actually did good, and they changed how that worked right after. You can thank Ross Perot for fucking us for fucking running a super for opposing. Who did he run against? What was it, Bush and somebody? I think Bush Senior. I don't remember, but Ross Perot ran. He was in the debates because he was polling high enough, and the League of Women Voters weren't part of the oligarchy system, and so he hit like 5% or whatever polling it was, or whatever the number was. And he got in, and subsequently they've rigged it so that no third party candidate can get in, because of some bullshit numbers you have to hit.
Yeah.
That's why you saw Jesse was advocating for get me a high enough polling number to get in the debates. That's why you see Green Party cocksuckers saying, oh, we got to get 5% so we can get fucking federal matching funding. It's like, again, you're playing to lose. Jesse's playing to win. That's why I'm voting for him. Not complicated. Very simple. I want to win. You guys want to lose.
Well, you know, they said that. You see all the shit on Twitter how the Green Party puts up a guy that's never won shit in his life.
0-24, man. In the year of Kobe, 0-24. What are y'all doing? Man, if I lose 24 elections, I might retire. But man, I gotta actually try in order to lose. This motherfucker. But he was running for Senate. He was running for small shit and big shit. I was like, what are you doing? Like all he did was
trying to get in there.
I think he's just trying to get his name out there and get money and shit. Cause like, look where it got him. Now he's the Green Party candidate by a rigged primary. Like, see, continually losing benefits you in this country.
The Democrats show that.
Yeah, I was gonna say we ran a loser in 20. They ran a loser in 2016, and they're gonna run a loser in 2020.
True. I mean, it's a worse candidate. That's the sad part too.
Yeah,
Biden's literally
got even worse.
That motherfucker gone. That man. I mean, Hillary was collapsing. I mean, they're about the same. Like, Hillary couldn't fucking walk.
Much just versions of each other.
Hillary can't walk. Fucking Biden's got dementia. And Trump needs fucking uppers in order to stay conscious. Like, what the fuck?
Trump is all more than uppers, dude. He's on shit.
Motherfucker gone.
And then these motherfuckers got the audacity, the gall, to say that this is that they're the best that we got. I remember seeing that fucking Biden interview with Charlamagne the God on like Breakfast Club or some shit, where he was like, "I'm the best you got. If you don't vote for me, you ain't black." Cause like you said that all in one sentence. In one sentence, he said all that. You know. It's like, what else are you gonna do? It's like, not you, my guy. Like, literally not you.
Hey, but you got to see how cucked Charlamagne was when that happened. He didn't know what to say. I was like, come on, Charlamagne, what are you doing? Saw his dumb ass down. But he didn't want to.
Maybe
he was scared.
Yeah, I think he didn't want to.
He was scared.
He was trying to give Biden an out. He kept trying to give Biden an out, you know?
He gave him like a softball question, too. He wasn't like, dude, you're a crime bill, dude, and shit.
Yeah, he was like, what would you do for the black community? You know?
It's like, what do you mean, what would he do for the black community, Charlamagne? He wrote the crime bill. Yeah. He's already told you what he would do.
Yeah, it's like, man, where's Charlamagne need to hang out more with fucking Aquilio? Like, come on, man. What kind of question is that?
Like, you already have an answer to that question. You don't have to ask him.
And that explains Biden's answer. He didn't even answer.
That shit drove me crazy. Charlamagne's such a poon. I mean, we've known this for years, but it was like that question. I was like, dude, are you stupid on purpose, or are you just naturally stupid?
My favorite part of that whole exchange is you can hear Biden's handler in the background be like, that's all we got for questions. That's all we got for questions. Biden, shut the fuck up.
Yeah, and then Biden was like, oh, time to go full racist. Oh, come on, man. He never lets the opportunity to go full racist go. Never.
Biden was waiting.
He said, he said, oh, that uppity black guy's coming at me. Uh-oh. And then he had to slow him down. I was like, come on, man.
They probably tell Biden before he does any sort of interview, it's like, all right, bud, we're going to keep it to 7 syllables a sentence and no more than 500 words. Anything over that and your brain it just shuts down.
Yeah, they were saying that's why he's doing morning shit. Because he goes bonkers later in the evening and shit. And like the best time for him consciously is in the morning or in the early afternoon. was like, damn.
Yeah, I remember they had one interview with him, and it was just his wife talk. His wife was speaking for him, and he was just sitting there, just smiling. Like, it looked weird.
He was
It's
gone.
like,
It's Weekend at Biden's. Remember, again, Orwellian art imitates life shit. They fucking rigged a primary against Bernie to fucking play the movie Weekend at Biden's. Like, how fucking weird is that? Weird. Very weird.
Biden doesn't know what's going on at any given time, so it's like he needs someone to hold his hand.
Your Corn Pop was a bad dude to his defense. So one of the fucking funniest. Yeah, do you remember who Aqualia went and beat up years ago?
oh yeah, we was
I was
talking
telling
about this
I was telling
yesterday.
Bruce about it.
At
I
the
couldn't remember.
airport, dude?
Yeah, who was it?
Yeah,
Yeah, that was,
Which guy was it? Which dork?
was it 6ix9ine?
Yeah, was it him? I couldn't remember.
It wasn't Takashi.
Oh, they went and jumped this. They didn't jump him. They actually were getting. But Priceless is a real one. Was murking dudes. I was loving it. But I thought I wasn't sure if it was that Takashi dude, but we was talking about him, and I'm like, fuck. You know how we deal with these whack rappers? We whoop their ass. Ask Priceless about it.
It was Takashi 6ix9ine.
Ah, I told you.
It wasn't.
told
It was Takashi.
Hey, Bruce
6ix9ine.
mentioned him about
jumped his
snitching or
ass.
something, and I'm like, man, fuck that dude. We'll jump that. We'll beat that dude's ass like Aquilio did. God.
Yeah, we was talking about snitches, and I was
Yep.
like, yeah, like Takashi 6ix9ine.
They went and jumped him. What was funny is Priceless was the first dude out there, knocked him on the ground. AC High comes out of nowhere and starts kicking him. I was like, you know what, AC High, I feel you. Priceless a big motherfucker. I'd let him do the first knockdown too, and then I'd come in for the kick.
They like a wrestling tag team. You got the big dude and the little dude.
Oh, shit.
That was
I
so-
completely forgot it was Takashi they jumped. That's
Oh
great.
man. I'll never forget that shit. Was funny as shit.
He fucking jumped his ass.
Fucking goofy ass.
Oh my
Alright, come on, let's
God.
finish this up.
All right, let's go ahead. Let's go ahead and hit play.
For 20-year process. Remember, they've been in charge this long, and they're going to protect their turf.
JFK.
Now, I just want to tell everyone, thank you very much for hearing me today. I appreciate it very much. I keep trying to get out of politics, but it's kind of like pulling the plug in the bathtub. It keeps wanting to suck you down the drain. But anyway, I still love my country. I believe in my country, and I believe that we can be a better nation and will be a better nation when we're given more than just two choices. Always remember what the late, great Jerry Garcia of the Grateful Dead said. If you're made to pick the lesser of two evils, it means you're still picking evil.
All right.
Thank you.
Preach.
Draft Jesse.
He's such a human though. That's why that's
Come
why
on.
Cornel West appeals to people. Like he's a human. You know what I mean?
Well, Cornell appeals to me because my brother,
hear me,
he's on his
dog?
own.
You hear me, my
Can you
brother?
hear me, brother?
Yeah, can you, motherfucker, old guy having trouble knowing if he's live or not, but still in character. Can you hear me, brother? Oh, damn. That's one of those cool things where you're like, oh, that's not a bit he does on TV and camera shit. That's who
Yeah,
he
it's
is,
just him.
and it's always refreshing.
Like
Like
you know it's who he is. He never shows up on a TV show, no matter what it is, freshly grown. His beard
Dude.
always crazy.
That's who. But also, you remember the time he was shitting on that other black dude defending Trump or something, and he went bonkers on that dude.
Cause he will.
That shit was funny. Cornell was out. He was livid. So
Dude, I won't lie to you. When Bernie was running, I still preferred listening to Cornell speak on Bernie's behalf than I did listen to Bernie talk. It was like, Brother Bernie, when Brother Bernie talks about this,
all
my
right.
dude.
Any final wrap ups? I need to stop the stream. It's going long. But any
Nah,
finals?
I ain't got none of them.
All right, man. Thanks for watching. Peace out.